Ladies and gentlemen, we're back with another special edition of the Bronco Alumni Show down here at the world famous Suds Tavern on Broadway, 1024 Broadway Avenue. It's not New York, it's not LA, but if you're in Boise, it's the place to be. That's what I always say.
No doubt, no doubt.
Well, luckily we have our good friend Quentin Mikell here. He's been a call-in guest on the show before. Thank you very much, Q, for being on the show. And the co-host to his left there, John Hannigan. John Hannigan, say hi to the kids out there.
Hi. Thanks for letting me be here.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime. So, Q, just thanks for responding to me when I invited you to our open mic last week, which is every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. now at Suds Tavern. It's called The Soapbox. All right, come on down if you want to have some drinks and some laughs. So, anyways, we're done with that ingracious plug or whatever.
Wow.
But yeah, we were just chatting over the phone, talking about podcasting, and you had mentioned that you're into it as well. So just kind of wanted to use this opportunity to get whatever you're doing out there, and maybe have some ideas on what we could do it together in the future.
Yeah, man. It's so right now. I do a podcast with one of my former teammates with the Eagles, Jason Avant. It's called Q&A. We do it on Inside the Birds on YouTube. Inside the Birds YouTube channel, and so it's been we've been doing that for about I would say two and a half years or so, and it's a lot of fun, man, and I really enjoy podcasting. I've always done a lot of media stuff, even when I was playing, and in retirement, I enjoy being able to go on a podcast and just say whatever I want to say and not necessarily be kind of confined to a certain narrative. So it's been really cool, and hopefully we can continue to grow and do some stuff together.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. John?
Is that only during the season, Q, or is that all year you do that podcast?
Yeah, so right now it's we usually do it mostly during the season, and then kind of when the draft process starts to pick up, then we'll start doing the shows again and kind of go through the spring ball, and then we'll take a break. So, but for the most part, the meat of the show is during the season.
All right, so you're breaking down week to week. Is it a weekly show?
Yeah. It's a weekly Monday nights. I'm sorry. It's usually we record on Monday nights and we post it on Tuesday mornings, and we just kind of rehash. Now it's not for anyone that's not an Eagles fan, as
Okay.
as I know that I got a Giants fan right next to me.
My cousin Sean is a huge Eagles fan. Shout out to Sean Turner down in Las Vegas. We were at his house earlier this year during I think it was the New England game in the playoffs, before the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And we were down there. He has a huge party, like 30 people, unlimited drinks, TVs inside, outside. It's a wild experience. The guy's like yelling at the TV type of Eagle fans. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure
Are there any other type?
They're an angry group, but a passionate group.
Yeah, against the Patriots. Yeah, it was pretty intense. So
Yeah, man.
yeah, that was fun.
It's a good year, Q. It must be easy to do the podcast. Like last year and this year, it's not too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still, the Eagles are 9-1. But they haven't played great football yet. So I feel like even though they're 9-1 and even though they're winning these games, it's like we still have a whole bunch of stuff to break down and stuff we didn't like and stuff we'd like to see a better job being done. So it's actually really cool as an analyst and former player to be able to talk about, all the stuff that's going on.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about with Bronco football right now.
Yeah.
We kind of stayed out of it all season long, and now I'd like to hear some of your thoughts on, coaching changes and how the teams responded, and where do you see things going from the future? Maybe your favorite pick for head coach of the future. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a sticky subject because I love Andy. Andy was one of my our former teammates, and
100%.
Great guy. And then sometimes just things don't work out, and so it's really tough to see. But at the same time, watching the games, it just didn't feel like the same Boise State teams that we've had over the years, and don't want to get too much into why it happened and what transpired, but the good part is the university has an opportunity to get things back on track, so to speak. Get things back where it should be. So it's a tough subject. Like again, he's one of my favorite former teammates, and you hate to see a guy lose his job and have to go down that road. But, there's a lot of young talent on this team. There's a lot of good young coaches on this team. I would love – there's a lot of guys that I would love to see. Obviously, bringing back former Broncos would be awesome. Ryan Dinwiddie is one of my favorite guys. I love him, and, I think he can get the offense going. Mike Sanford, I love him as well. Spencer, but also Spencer Danielson. He's a great coach, man, and the players are responding to him. They're getting – it looks like they're having more fun again. It looks like they're enjoying being out there, enjoying each other, and that's kind of what we've been bred on for years.
I agree 100%. All that stuff with Andy, it breaks your heart. As far as I know, every interaction I've ever had, and I've had several, hundreds of interactions with Andy, and all of them have been positive. He's always been a professional, been there when you need him, stand-up, solid guy. And the only thing I could think of that might be contributing to some of the animosity would be just I can't imagine trying to coach 21-year-old, 18, 19-year-old kids with the way the landscape is now, with all the money on the table.
Yeah.
And I think, if anything, that would be the one thing that I could see, just him not hitting with those players on, trying to coach like he was coached, and how, it's a top-down environment in college football, but that's not how it is anymore. So.
Yeah, it's a different world, man, with the NIL stuff. And, you got, what's really tough is you bring in a guy that maybe is a 2-3 star type guy, and you develop them and you get them into a place where they're, a quote-unquote star. And then, the big teams with the big NIL money come sniffing around, and, next thing you know, those players are gone. But that's just the landscape. It happens across the board. It happens everywhere. And so, you gotta be able to adjust to that and understand that that's where we are right now, and you got to take a different approach.
Yeah, a lot of young talent on the team right now that has, I'm sure, opportunities elsewhere, and you have to take that into consideration now. Would I have tried to get my head coach fired if I could have? No, probably not. But it never occurred to me. It had never even occurred to me. So that's a whole different world, and I've tried a little bit to test the waters to try to reach out to Andy, and haven't heard any response. But Andy, alumni show, you're definitely one of the top tier alumni that we could possibly have on this show. The door's always open. Come on down and give your side of the story, man, if you ever feel like it. But other than that, there's still the Mountain West is kind of wide open.
Can I jump in? Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
You were a star here. Let's take back in time.
Yeah.
What if UCLA or Alabama, they came calling for your junior or senior year? You don't have to sit out a year. It's fictitious, obviously, but under these new rules, this is what it is now.
Yeah.
I'm not going to speak for you, but I think you would be crazy not to entertain that idea. Correct?
Yeah, you'd be crazy not to entertain it. It's tough to say, because I feel like and I don't want to sound like the old man, but I feel like we were just a different era. It was a different era for us. So in my mindset back then, I probably would have stayed around, because when we were young guys playing here, it was about the program. It was about building something together. It was about turning Boise State into, hopefully one day what it is today. And that was our mentality. We all had chips on our shoulders. We all were angry. We didn't get recruited by the big schools. So, it's easy to say, of course I wouldn't. But then, if a team like Alabama was like, hey, we got, a few million on the table in NIL, yeah, you have to consider it. But I think my mentality now and back then would have been the same, and I would have stayed put and helped build this program the way it is today.
Sounds like Jason's saying it never even occurred to you when you were playing. It wasn't. To transfer back when you guys played was almost a knock on you, and you had to sit out a year.
Yeah.
They don't think you're loyal. Other coaches. It didn't work out for a lot of guys that transferred back then.
I kind of see it going this way, because it kind of reminds me of guys having the opportunity to leave early for the draft a little bit, where there's and you can't knock a guy who leaves his junior season to go make money, to make $2 million in the pros.
Yeah.
So I don't see, just being a realist, how you could knock somebody for going and trying to make a few million compared to whatever they're going to make here in Idaho.
Yeah, and you know, and I try to stay off the social media stuff, and I read a whole lot of stuff. So, you know, obviously the situation with McAllister when he went into the transfer portal, my first thought was, hey, we don't know what this kid is going through. We don't know, you know, his personal life. If he has an opportunity to make, you know, more money for himself, put himself in a better position, then he should absolutely do that. And that's his right, and that's his freedom to do that. And, you know, now it becomes next man up. Like the next person that wasn't getting those reps, now it's time for you to step up and you become that guy. And so, you know, football is a funny sport in the sense that you have 11 guys trying to achieve a common goal, but at the same time you got 11 individuals that are taking care of their responsibilities each play to help the team win. And so there's a little bit of individuality and there's a little bit of team aspect to it. And when you get the opportunity to put yourself in a better position, by all means, go do what you got to do. Next man's got to step up.
And they did that exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
you had, was it Strand and Bolt the very
yeah.
next game against New Mexico.
Yeah.
They spread it out nice. And,
Yeah.
And everybody responded well, you know.
Absolutely. And that's kind of, you know, that's how it should be.
Yeah.
You know, that's how it should be. There's plenty of talent on that team.
100.
Q, let me word it this way. Where do you see, outside of this year, where do you see Boise State, put aside all the coach, there'll be a new coach, there won't be, it'll be the same, whatever. Where do you see this program going in 3-5 years? Like what, with the layout, you know there's going to be a bigger playoff system that's coming. Where do you see Boise State's, I guess, place in all this?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think Boise State, the program, is in a dangerous spot right now because, you know, the NIL has really changed everything. And, you know, when you have guys, from what I've been hearing, not around here, but just what I've been hearing just across the landscape of college football, is you got guys requesting money just to come on visits, right? And so, like, where does it end? Like, you're going to pay a kid $5,000 just to come visit your campus and you know, help decide whether he wants to go there or not. So I think we're in a dangerous spot because it's tough. Boise State is not. We don't have the same amount of money as some of these big schools do, and that makes a huge difference. But I do think the one thing that can help this program is going back to recruiting guys that are angry guys, going back to recruiting guys that have a chip on their shoulder, going back to recruiting maybe not the 4-star, 5-star guys. Maybe it's a 1-star. Maybe it's not a no-star player, but he's hungry, right? You got to go back to that. You got to get a guy that wants to play, that wants to be here, that wants to show everybody what he can do. And that's, in my opinion, what we've always been about. And so hopefully we can get back to doing that and just, you know, getting some angry guys that just want to prove everybody wrong, you know?
Absolutely. That's how I was more than a little angry when I showed up.
Yeah, all of
But,
us.
you know, one thing that I want to say, athletic director Jeremiah Dickey, he didn't really bat an eye when questioned about the $3 million they're going to have to come up with to pay Andy. So maybe he knows something we don't. Maybe there's a little more money floating around back there. I mean, we know there's tons of money in the Treasure Valley.
Yeah.
It's just, are they willing to give it up to the Broncos is the question. So, but he sounded like he wasn't worried about the search for the next head coach and having to take that extra $1 million out the salary to compensate Andy. So,
yeah, you know, and I think first of all, I think he's done a phenomenal job. Jeremiah Dickey's done a phenomenal job raising money and getting people more involved with the program and getting some big dollars in. But I think the coach part, you know, paying a coach, I think that's a little bit easier than the NIL stuff. I think that's a little bit easier because now you're talking about one guy in the head of your program. So of course you want to bring in the right person, and you know, obviously being on the hook for the money for and let's not say like it's not like he didn't earn it, right?
Oh, yeah.
He absolutely earned the money, got this team to where it is now. It didn't work out in the end, but he still helped this team progress to where it's at now. So
yeah, if I was Andy, I would go coach at like Bishop Kelly or something for a year, for the next few years, and just go pick up my $2,500 check from the school district or whatever.
I coach at Rocky Mountain High School over here. And,
Are you gonna throw out Andy?
Yeah. You need to see
bring
if you
Andy
can
on
get
the
him.
staff.
The highest paid high school coach in Idaho state history. Yeah, make it happen, Q. No, Andy, he deserves every cent of what's coming to him.
Yeah, I think you're just saying from looking on from the budget standpoint.
Yeah.
The powers that be seem to think that $3 million is.
Drop in the bucket.
Yeah, so
it sounds like.
I mean,
So
where are
hopefully-
they getting the money from?
Well, I'm hoping that as to that 3-year plan John was talking about, I think there's some opportunity if Oregon State and Washington State can come through all the all the lawsuits and whatever, and be running that conference. I think that it would be a great place for the majority of the Mountain West to land. I've seen a Pac West map, I think is what they're trying to call it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
So can you explain? So I kind of saw a little bit about that. I didn't quite understand it. I know Washington State and Oregon State ended up being basically the judge sided with them as being able to make decisions for the Pac-12.
Yeah, so I think what happens is if there's a clause in the Pac-12, Pac-10 bylaws or whatever that says that if you decide to leave the conference, then your vote as to where the conference goes doesn't matter. You've voided your vote.
Oh, okay.
So now they're the only 2 teams left, and that means controlling the budget for all of the money and revenue that the whole conference is going to generate
still making
through
this
bowl
year.
games.
Yeah.
Wow.
Through bowl games and all of that. So
Including this
including
season?
this
Yeah,
season.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
So that's kind of what the judge, I think, initially ruled was that.
And get these buyout. I mean, I think they have to all kind of buy out, or there's some penalty to leave.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think what they were planning on doing was using the money that is going to be generated to help other conferences buy out of their conference contracts, like we have with the Mountain West.
To bring,
I think that's kind of
and what are they going to call this?
the Pac West is what I've seen maps say.
Pac-West.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're thinking most of them. I mean, just off the top of my head, those 2 teams obviously are the kingpins now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then you basically
You got like San Jose, San Diego,
Most of the
Fresno,
Mountain West goes.
Boise, all the way out to New Mexico, I think. Yeah, I don't know. It's just been rumored, and that would be something that if you had some type of handshake deal, or maybe even in writing with Oregon State and Washington State just right up the road here,
Wow.
then that would be a little card that you could have and that no one quite knows about yet. And that's some speculation that I've had.
allegedly.
Yeah,
These are all
this is
Turner
all
conspiracy
speculation.
theories,
Yeah.
but
Some
turn out to be
know.
correct. Okay.
That'd be huge, though, man.
Yeah.
The implications of that, being able to, let's be honest. I mean, that's a huge deterrent for teams that are trying to switch conferences, that buyout. And so, if the Pac-12 or whatever it was called now, it has that kind of trump card in their back pocket where they're like, hey, we'll pay that off for you. That's a huge, huge advantage.
Yeah,
for us.
And I think you
end
could
up
get
there.
to 12 teams, and then you're automatically supposed to be in for the playoff or something like that, right? Or I don't know how that would work.
Yeah, I think there's now we're getting way down the line, but
Yeah.
16 teams. I think there's 2 or 3
Okay.
in that proposal at large
Okay.
teams, and I think the ultimate goal would be position yourself as one of the biggest conferences outside the Power 5. So it's de facto your winner is going to get in the playoff, and I mean that's a seat at the table. That's all you.
And
can
a lot
ask
of
for.
people, I think, knock the Mountain West, I think, but there's not too many conferences where all the teams are kind of beating up on each other like we have this year.
Yeah.
And some people might feel like that's Boise State falling off, but I like to be positive and think that them other teams are kind of raising up to the level after being
dominated.
Yeah, and especially with the NIL, because they have bigger markets to draw that money pool from, such in like San Diego and San Jose's like
San
the
Jose.
billionaires over there. So it's crazy. It's crazy how that is going to completely reshape the landscape of football, college football.
It's crazy.
Are you saying that money rules the world? Is that what you're? Is that?
Yeah, they're trying to keep us out, and they got all the money. So yeah,
Okay.
they've always been trying to keep us out. Q, huh? Remember, it makes me kind of wish we had the BCS back. Seems like
Yeah,
we had a
man.
better shot back then.
Yeah, I agree.
They try to keep you out of that too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
They saw these, Boise State winning. They saw Utah beating Alabama. They saw these, quote unquote smaller market teams or smaller, whatever the word is that I'm looking for. But
yeah, it's a market.
The smaller teams beating these big schools, and they're like, hold on, wait a minute.
Yeah.
let's figure this out.
We got to figure out a way to keep the money over here on the East Coast. We don't like sharing it with the West Coast teams that aren't in LA, right?
Yeah, no doubt, man. It's frustrating.
Well, there you go. Is now a time to give Suds another plug? That's the ice being broken. It is game day, so excitement in the bar.
Yeah, man. I'm surprised there's a lot of people here already.
Yeah, they start early on the afternoon games. You got to start early.
These are those day games everybody was screaming about 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah,
so
man.
they got them.
That was another thing that we put in the works.
What's that?
A few years ago on the podcast, we made our requests. We said we wanted alcohol sold in the stadium. We wanted more day games, afternoon games, and I think that was it.
Yeah.
But both of them came true a few weeks later, a few months later. So.
There you go, man. So you guys are the catalyst, man. Let's get it going.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
coincidence, either one.
So yeah, we were talking about the podcast and trying to maybe make it more inviting for guests to come on. So one idea that I had was to try to schedule, instead of just like a solo host or solo guest, try to get groups or a panel of teammates who played together and played for the Broncos together, and make it more of like a hangout environment. We can get the barbecue going outside. We can kind of make it more of a relaxing thing, instead of trying to just be questioned by these two, me and this dork over here.
Bronco reunion show?
Yeah.
Is that what you're changing
just
it to?
try to get the guys back together more than anything, and talk about where we can go and what we can do to help out and all that stuff. So
yeah, man, I'm all for it. Especially you talking barbecue, man. I love barbecue.
You have a guest host. You have your own show on the Bronco, on the Sud Sports Network, I believe is what we called it a while ago. So anytime, if you're not busy doing your NFL podcast, you're more than welcome to come down and have any, and maybe on a bye week.
Speaking of the NFL, can I ask you a question about the Eagles? This is a legitimate football question.
Okay.
You play defense, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
What is this thing impossible to stop? Is it this man's legs, the tush push? Like, what is the secret to this? I mean, you watch this play what do they refer to it as, 1st and 9? That's their saying, right?
Yeah, the tush push, the brotherly shove. First of all, any type of quarterback run is tough to stop as a defender, because you got an extra blocker, right? So now on the tush push, everyone's compacted, everyone's really tight, and they're all just basically wedging through that A gap. So you got about 11 guys attacking about 3 or 4 guys. And so it's a win-win every time. And the funny thing is that I hear everyone complaining about, it's this, it's that, and it's like, well, if it's cheating, why don't more teams do it, right? I've seen more teams try to do it. They're just not as good at it. So it's a part of the game, and it should always be a part of the game. And if you don't want the Eagles to get in that situation, stop them on 1st, 2nd down. Don't let them get that close, man.
It is literally. I mean, I played Pop Warner. That's the first play you learn. Like up the. I'm going to give it to you, or I'm going to run straight up the middle here. So in that sense, it's literally the oldest play in football.
It's like 21 dive, right?
Yeah, that's
22,
it.
21, 22.
The only guys I feel bad for are the running backs. Like, they do all this work, they get down all the way down to the one, and just like the other night, they were playing the Chiefs, and there was a 40-yard bomb to Devontae Smith, and he gets tackled on the 1-yard line. And normally that play would go to a running back, it'd go to Swift, DeAndre Swift, or someone like that, and it's like, nope, quarterback sneak.
I know.
Hurts gets his 13th 1-yard touchdown.
So you heard it here first, fantasy fans. Don't play the Eagles running backs.
I'm sure the O-line loves it. It's a little treat for them.
Yeah, man.
But don't you get stomped? I mean, those old linemen end up face down at the bottom of that.
It's worth the points, man. I don't know what to tell you. It's your time to shine. It's just you and you and 4 other guys trying to punch a hole in a.
I couldn't do it.
It's something. It's like it taps into your caveman instincts,
4th and 1? Is
Yeah.
That's, yeah.
I swear. So Jason Kelsey, the center, every time they run that play, everyone like slowly peels off of him, and he looks like he's hurt every time he does it. He just rolls over his back, and but they get to celebrate, as you said. You get the score, so it's worth it.
Like I said, stop it. I guess that's your answer, right?
I would love to see the Broncos do a tush push against Air Force tonight. That'd be great.
Yeah, we got the line for it. They got some
You got
dogs
time,
up front.
Q. Get over there.
Yeah, man.
Get it installed.
Fired up.
Spencer.
Bush, you need to talk to Bush.
Oh yeah, Bush.
I think he's over in the football facility.
Bush. I'll yell from the fence. Hey, Bush. Tush push.
Oh, that all works. The Bush. Oh, all right, yeah.
Call it
yeah.
the Bush push.
There you go.
There you go. All right, you're welcome. Designing plays for him now. What else?
Dial it up.
Yeah. Well, they definitely got the quarterback with the size. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, man.
Although
and strength.
you saw how Madsen's knee just kind of buckled under the pressure, though,
Yeah,
last
man.
week. We don't want to be risking it with Talon. His knees look even more vulnerable.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah,
Hurts
those
does
tall
have
guys,
some
man.
thick
He
legs.
needs to
thick,
put on.
short,
You need to get him some cheeseburgers or something.
Could do a partnership with Burger King right
Yeah.
there.
The
Or
Whopper.
They're getting
Burger
fed
Burger
better
Burger.
than you guys got fed
Oh,
over
yeah,
there.
I'm
I'm
sure.
pretty
Oh my
sure,
goodness,
so.
way better.
No complaints, so you know.
Yeah,
from
when
that.
when I
Was it I
first
used to see it every day had a Whopper Junior or something. One of those defensive backs, they eat anything and stay skinny.
yeah, man. But that Burger King got us through college, man. Whenever they had like the 99-cent specials on the Whoppers.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, that's how we got through. I went, so when I first moved back here, I've been back here about a year. I went, kind of visited and saw the facilities and how they do things, and I was flabbergasted.
The smoothie bar in the weight room?
Oh
Is
my
that
God, they got it so good in there, man. Snacks.
I know. I might have made it to 300 pounds if we would have had that.
I might have been playing linebacker instead of safety, as good as they're eating.
Yeah. I'm sure you'd have been fine, Q.
I didn't. There's an opportunity there. Burger King, official
Yeah.
sponsor of the
There you
Broncos.
go.
The
here.
Bronco
Yeah.
Alumni Show.
Yeah, get on
Yeah,
there,
man.
Burger King.
Come on, man. We're
Yeah.
bigging up everybody. Burger King. Who else over there?
Oh, who are our sponsors this week? It's Turner Farms, right? The freshest organic chicken eggs this side of the co-op, the Boise Co-op, I think.
Yeah, Turner.
Yeah.
You didn't hear Turner raises chickens.
Yeah, I
now.
got.
Do you?
I got.
Part of his-
I got 8 hens and three roosters.
Nice.
Yeah.
Me and my wife were thinking about getting some chickens when we first moved back here. It seems like a lot of work, though, is it?
A little bit of work up front, yeah. Just
Every
got to
day.
sort their
Lot of work.
coop and get them through their first spring, and then once it's warm enough and they can go outside, you just got to make sure they got water and
Yeah.
food. But
What about predators?
not where I live, and that's I think helpful to have the roosters out there too. I know in Boise proper, I live in unincorporated Boise, but in Boise proper they got the no roosters allowed. I think
Six
Oh,
of them.
yeah, five
or
I think you
six.
can
Yeah,
have at
there's
your
a-
house.
there's like a
yeah.
cattle
in Boise
farm.
proper, but
But
we're
yeah, when you get out
unincorporated,
into
baby.
the- yeah.
Yep.
You get out
I
into the
didn't know
farm
that.
fields, you can do whatever you want, I guess, out
Yep.
there.
Nice. Yeah, I don't know. We thought about it. My wife, if we could own a farm, she would love that. She loves baby goats. She loves like llamas, like all kind of animals, chickens, and I was like, I don't know if we should do the chickens. That seems like a lot of work. But
As long as you can keep them contained, I think having the rooster keeps the hens from like wandering your neighborhood and trying to jump fences. I think they keep them in order, and then they'll stay in only your house. At least that's how it's worked at our place so far. They could get out and jump the fence and go into the neighbor's yard, but they don't.
Q, my best recommendation would be find a friend like
yeah.
Turner.
Yeah, there you go.
He's gonna try to charge you $5. You
$5
can probably talk him down to $3.
$5 a dozen.
You know,
Yeah,
like
that
for
sounds
old
like a
times.
deal to me.
Yeah, and then you got no chickens and no hassle at your house. It's-
I like your style.
Yep.
That's
Well,
cool.
let's we got like the last, I don't know, third of the show, quarter of the show.
got 15 minutes.
Yeah, why don't we get into what's going to happen today or not, and what that means?
I think it's going to be a tough game. I think Air Force has seen the drama that Boise State's been through, and they're just waiting to knock them down because we've been kind of riding this little high. So I think if the defense, which, forgive me, in my opinion, has been kind of a dull spot on the team this year.
I agree.
Last year we came with a little fire, but there's some, especially, we can play hard nose in the up front and in the secondary. I think that our linebackers seem to bring it every day, but I think our secondary has been giving up a little bit more than we're used to this year. They did well enough last game against New Mexico, but we'll see it when we get to a tougher opponent, how they'll respond after the coaching change and whatnot.
Yeah, for me, it's funny, and this goes all the way back to when we were playing. Whenever we played option teams, it didn't matter how good or bad they were, we always struggled. I mean, we got our butts kicked against Rice. North Texas was always a tough one. I remember my either sophomore year, redshirt sophomore year, we played Southern Utah, and they were like 1AA, and they came up and they were cutting everybody triple option, and so we've traditionally always had issues against option teams. So I'm a little bit nervous in that sense, because it kind of forces you to play assignment football. You got to be disciplined every single play, and the secondary, as good and athletic as they are, they don't always play as disciplined as they should be. And so, I'm be interested to see how Spencer, Coach Danielson does with this defense this week and his game plan and how he plans to attack. And if we can do well on the back end, tackling well and playing disciplined defense, I think we'll be fine. Our offense will score on anybody, I feel like.
Yeah. I mean, they got to keep, and the offense has to keep the faucet full
Yes.
tilt. No cutting them loose or cutting them brakes this game. We got to have all gas.
All gas.
With the triple option, does it fall a lot on the secondary to make tackles? Is this what? I mean, it seems like you got everybody strung out. You're trying to get a running back on a littler cornerback, or
Yeah. So by assignment football, that's what's tough. It's like every single play will look the same. That's what they strive to do. Every single play will look the same, and then so with that happening means that every single person on that defense is accounted for. And so let's say a defensive lineman, let's say he doesn't do his job and he gets out of a gap, that creates a void in the defense. And now the linebacker, maybe he sees that hole and he feels it in the wrong spot. And then so it kind of is a trickle-down effect. So the hardest part is, yes, they do try to force the secondary to make tackles and to make plays, but it also forces everyone to kind of play a little bit slower and more disciplined. And that's what the toughest thing about playing an option team is, that all your speed, all your athleticism means nothing if you get out of the wrong gap, or if you're attacking the wrong area or hitting the wrong person. So, it slows you down. It takes away all your athletic advantage, and it makes you play discipline for 4 quarters. And then let's say option team hits like 5 yards, 6 yards, 8 yards. Now the secondary, they're starting to think, oh, it's going to be a run, and then next thing you know, they're flying up the field and there's somebody behind them for a bomb. So it's tough, man. I hated playing option teams.
Especially, I believe, one of the great defensive coordinators of Boise State, Brent Guy.
Yeah.
And he was one of these guys that said, if you take it, you better make it, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of got to go out the window. You can't have that mentality against this triple option team, right?
Absolutely.
And so when you have that mentality 11 other games in the season, it's really hard to tie that off and control it, have that disciplined defensive player.
Yeah, absolutely.
do you think it helps? I mean, in the past it was here and there. Now you have a team, you play Air Force pretty much every year. I mean, so
Yeah.
at least there's that planning in the off. We're going to see this.
Yeah.
We better, dedicate something to it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. You when you get used to it, and it's a little bit different than when back in the day. I keep saying back in the day, when we're all old now, but
Oh yeah, it was back in the day. That's accurate.
Around the turn of the century.
But yeah, so it does help you to, when you're used to playing it and you see it once a year or twice a year. So, but yeah, I'm sure they'll have some wrinkles in there and as well, and yeah, it'll be good. It'll be interesting to see. I'm excited for the game.
Well, Boise is 7-point favorite, so that's probably based on history of the blue turf mostly.
Yeah.
The home
But I was
game.
surprised to see that big of a spread.
Yeah, I was a little surprised. I don't know if I'm going to take that one. Just, I think this team, it's so up and down right now. Like anything can happen. It could be we can go in that stadium and it'll be a straight blowout, or it could end up being a tight game. I do think they'll win. I would, if I were to bet on this game, I would just take the money line. Honestly, that's the way I would go.
I see. Well, that brings me another question. Spencer Danielson. This is my opinion. I think the powers that be want to go outside. They want to get a new coach. But if he wins today, he gets another game. He gets a championship. If he wins that championship, he's going to get a bigger bowl game. He wins that. I mean, the momentum can build here. I mean, can he win his way into this job, I guess is my question.
I hope so. I mean, I think, I've met Spencer a few times. I think he's a great person. I think he's a great leader. I think that this team responds. They really respond to him. One of the most telling things that I heard from him in one of his interviews is that he said, we got back to just having fun. And with all we talk about all the NIL, we talk about, winning championships and all this stuff. At the end of the day, we got to remember that these are still kids, right? And they want to go out there and they want to have fun. They want to enjoy their time while they're here. And so to me, if you can bring in a coach that can hold players accountable, make them, instill in them some discipline, but also allow them to cut it loose on Saturdays or Fridays and have fun, that's the perfect balance right there. And it seems so far, now it's only been a couple games, but it seems so far that balance is right where it needs to be, where guys are playing hard and playing physical, but enjoying themselves and smiling and celebrating. And so, hopefully that continues to grow, and, we'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah, he's a very positive guy. Like when he's on in the press conferences, I not the old man version of me, but the young version of me would be excited. I mean, he just, he seems to be able to relate. He seems, just he has a good effect on the media, the fans. It just seems like he's a, positive person, I guess is
the biggest. And I've been fortunate enough to play for some great coaches, Andy Reid, Jeff Fisher. I've been coached under Sean McDermott, Ron Rivera, like Steve Spagnuolo. All of the coaches.
Damn, Q.
Yeah.
Keep going.
I've been around a lot of cool, like really good coaches. And the biggest thing that always resonates, like X's and O's is one thing, but will the guys play for you? Like, will they play hard for you? And that really is what I'm seeing from this team, is that they're playing hard for coach. They're playing hard for the assistant coaches. And so to me, that's what the most telling thing is. One of my favorite coaches was Jeff Fisher. We didn't win a ton of games, but he was awesome. He was a great coach, and we all played hard for him.
Is that was that in Phil? Was he a?
That was my second year in St. Louis.
St. Louis.
Yeah.
Oh wait, back yeah.
Yeah, back the old.
St.
That's
Louis
how old
Rams.
I am. Yeah. I keep aging myself.
Hey kids, the L.A. Rams used to be in St. Louis, and before that they were in L.A.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Figure that one out, kids.
they went back to their first love, I guess.
Yeah.
So what do you think? All this from Coach Danielson. He's competing for a job for Boise State but he's also competing for any job that might come up here in the future around the country, because with the deal, I mean, it's always like, it reminds me of like free trade deadline in basketball.
Yeah.
Like the NIL opening up is going to be like one of those bang bang shoot 'em up type of where people make big moves. And your whole outlook for your next season could change in a matter of hours,
Yeah.
So it's going to be wild to see how it all goes down. And I don't know, with all the money on the table, I automatically start questioning everybody's motivation to do with the program. The equipment guy might be, Dale might be pulling for a new contract somewhere. You know what I'm saying? You never know. That guy could have his own character on the Madden game or on the NCAA game.
I would love to see Dale on Madden.
I know. But it's just a whole nother thing that it's basically eventually I could see the NCAA kind of dissolving and football programs that were associated with schools kind of moving away from the university because there's really nothing in it for the football program anymore to be associated with the university. You got to share all your money with the other sports.
Yeah.
You know, although I heard there are some female teams that do make quite a bit of money on the nil deals.
Oh yeah.
So there's that aspect of it, but it's just hard to see how the NCAA can keep a lasso around everybody when there's all this money pulling everybody apart.
Yeah, they're really trying, and they're trying to keep that lasso, but they're not helping themselves. Like you see what happened with Michigan, and you see what happened with
What happened exactly?
Well,
I'm not sure.
when so not necessarily the camera thing, but the first thing that was involved with Coach Harbaugh when he got suspended for buying burgers for players, and it's like, okay, you're going to penalize the coach because he's buying burgers for his for potential players, and you guys are sitting on billions of dollars, right?
Yeah.
So like has always been the issue, and that's the reason why the NIL started, was because it was really unfair for college athletes, and it was tough for us.
100%. Yeah.
And now I sit back and I laugh because it's like, well, you guys were so heavy-handed for so long at the NCAA. Now look what happened. It's a wild, wild west, and it really should have been that way from the beginning. So, yeah, man, it's interesting.
It's a whole new universe out there for the student athlete. It's completely different.
Yeah,
It's
man.
Free market, capitalism.
And I could see a coach coming from that having a hard time trying to coach these guys.
Yeah.
So
It's a different world.
Yeah.
We should let's get a time machine, man. Like me and you, let's go forward in time, but like keep our bodies back. Let's take our bodies that were young and then like jump forward in time to this NIL time, and then we could take advantage.
I mean, think of the characters we could have had. We could have had a YouTube channel that would have broke the internet, bro.
Yeah.
Some of the video, before it was on your phone, you actually had to have the video camera. Q knows what I'm talking about. Some of the videotape that is in possession of some of our friends would have broken the internet.
Oh
back
my
in the
God,
day.
yeah.
It would have been comedy nonstop.
Well, the good comes the bad, though. There's a lot of
incriminating videos as well.
Yeah. The cameras aren't all good.
Yeah. Good stuff, man.
Yeah, that's
Not really. No incriminating videos exist of Boise State football players.
no VCRs
From the
exist
turn
to
of the
play them
century.
anymore. So
Yeah, exactly.
that's that. You lucked out there with the technology switch.
Yeah, man.
We're getting
It's about
towards
that
the
time.
end here. Yeah, you gonna
Any
make
plugs? Any shout outs or anything, Q?
I'm not really good with the shot, but I will say, listen, if you guys are interested in seeing some very good amateur analysts break down some NFL game, if you're an Eagles fan, check us out. That's InsideTheBirds.com or Inside the Birds YouTube channel. Q&A, me and Jason Avant. We have a great time. We laugh. We crack it up. It's a great time. So check us out. And that's all I got. I'm not good with the plugs yet. I got to work on that stuff.
Yeah, we're working on that too. Now we hope that we're hosting this open mic now too, so we got to try to plug. Are you gonna plug?
Yeah, tell me
I guess-
about that.
Oh well, we just kind of started it up here. I've been thinking about it, kicking it around with Ross, and then, we had a spark of inspiration, and then we just kind of made it happen. We have all this stuff. We know how to hook it up. We can broadcast it to the internet.
There you go.
So that was kind of it. And then, we've had a rough first couple weeks, but we've had some interest from the local comedy scene. We're trying, which we are going to need obviously to get it off the ground. But we're trying to attract, the people in the bar, or maybe my old teammates that have some jokes or something that want to come.
all
up.
these funny locker room guys. Yeah, get up there.
So we come on here and then we do jokes,
We
or
set
is
up
this
over there.
open
They're
mic?
set up over there in the corner in front of that window, and we have a box. This box right here, that's the stage.
Oh,
So you
man.
just stand up on the box with the
soapbox.
microphone,
Yeah.
and you just speak your piece, man. Tell your jokes or political opinions or whatever you have
Those
to
don't
say.
go well.
Yeah, they don't
I
go.
would stick to jokes.
Yeah,
you can say
jokes
whatever
go
you want
better.
up there.
That'd be great. Well, hold on. So when is this?
It's every Tuesday night
Okay.
starting at 9 p.m.
Yeah.
There's another mic across town that starts 7:30ish, I think.
Yeah.
And we're trying to get people to come over after that to help spark up the interest in the
Some
local
people are
comedy
funny.
scene.
Some people are finding out they're not funny.
Yeah.
I mean, either way, it's fun.
Yeah,
you learn. That's
yeah.
the best
Yeah.
part, right? You
And
learn.
actually, that's the best part when somebody gets up there and they're not funny, and then like 2 months later, They're like, what happened? Like, you can get better.
So we figured out how to produce the show technically, kind of. We struggle sometimes. Sometimes we're better than others. But like the business part of it is where we're really struggling, I think, in trying to market and pay and get a budget to pay guests and stuff like that. And I was just curious, did you get a pretty decent like rundown when you get into the NFL about how you are now a business of you, and they really try to teach you those lessons of what to do, what not to do?
Yeah, you really do get hammered home with that because you nail it. You are your own business, right? You are your own business on the field and off the field, and what you put into yourself in terms of taking care of your body, working hard, that's part of it. But also, what do you do off the field? Not necessarily, obviously, investments and things like that. That's part of you being part of your own business. But also, you can hurt your business, right? If you're off the field and you're getting in trouble, or if you're on the field and you're getting in trouble, that can hurt your business as well. So we do, as players, we do learn that very early. It's like, you're basically a mercenary, and you're taking care of your own business, and you're building your brand, building yourself up.
Awesome. Yeah, if you could maybe help your boy JT learn some of that over here on the field, off the field business stuff, so we can start.
He's gonna come shadow you all next week.
Yeah, we want to blow up
your house.
We just want to really blow up the. I don't know. It's a platform for, not for me to come and interview anybody, but just for you.
I know. I'd love to not come do this.
Teammates,
it'd be great.
You and your former teammates to come and hang out and shoot the shit and see what comes out. Make. Bond with players you don't know, whatever.
Yeah, that'd be fun, man.
Cross-generational. There's hang with the old guys, hang with the young guys.
All right.
And now, I think that since the NIL is here, I don't think we won't get in any trouble for maybe even having current players on this show.
I don't
see why you wouldn't. If you could pay them to come on, it shouldn't be an issue.
You guys should talk about this after we wrap this up.
No, this is the show. This is the show, John. Everybody wants to hear about this.
Okay.
No, but anyways,
that is the show.
Are
you going to give your prediction there before we go?
Okay, predictions.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a tight one. I think the defense is going to struggle with the triple option. It's going to be 35-31 is my prediction.
Who's winning?
Broncos.
Oh, of course. Homer.
Ooh. You want mine?
Yeah, you want to go? No, you go last, because yours is probably the most important opinion.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about mine. I'm just going to say 21-20 and get out of the way for you. And it is Broncos. Okay, but very nail-bitey Broncos.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with both you guys. I think it's going to be a close game. I got this defense shutting down the offense first half. Second half, I feel like maybe it'll start to break us down a little bit. So I'm going to go 30. I'll go 30, 32, 31 Broncos. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, but I think the Broncos will pull it out in the end.
All right. Thank you so much for your time, Q, and we'll have to do this again real soon.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me.
All right. That's the Bronco Alumni Show, Sud Sports Network. Come down and see us Tuesday nights at the open mic, the Soapbox Open Mic.
Gotta come down and see that, man.
All right. That's it. Until next time.
All right,
Go Broncos.